I was this big, tall, black man yelling at the top of his lungs at his supervisor.
Boy, if you don't
What's good, you guys? It's your boy Ray, Real Ray, King Ultimate. This video, I'll tell you guys a story about when I was out of work for 3 years and what led up to it. Just diving right into it. I was working at this company. Won't say the name of the company, and I won't say the names of any of the people involved. It was a warehouse job. I had the job for about 3 years actually. I worked there longer than working at the job that I work at right now, which the job that I have right now is the best job that I've ever had. You know, I'm very grateful and thankful to have that job. So just diving into the story, it was a warehouse job. I had been working there for about 3 years, and it's kind of hard for me to just stay in one place as far as working a regular 9 to 5 because of the fact that I just lose interest quickly. But with the job that I have right now, I haven't lost interest. I'm very happy to be there. There's something that's new and challenging every day that I run into. So I'm very happy with the job that I have right now. Yeah, so that job was just the same thing in and out every day, you know. Nothing new or exciting or challenging about the job. And I could have, in retrospect, thinking back on it, I should have tried to climb the ladder. I wasn't thinking about that at that particular time. You know, that's the way I could have challenged myself, and that's pretty much kind of how I'm challenging myself at my current job as well, is to try to get to new levels, higher places at the job where I'm working at right now. After I got fired from that job that I'm talking about right now in this video, I promised myself that any new place I got hired, I was going to make sure that I didn't just stay at the bottom ground. I was going to make sure that I tried to elevate myself, get to higher levels at the job, even climbing the corporate ladder, if I'm able to get to that place, you know. I learned a lot of lessons from being fired from that job. This is during the time I had my studio as well. And so I had my studio, and my studio was more exciting, or I was, you know, I couldn't wait to leave work so that I can go ahead and get to the studio. The job was boring to me. That, along with some personal issues I was going through at that particular time in my life. The personal issues that definitely that played a big part in me getting to a place to where I just kind of didn't really care about the job, you know. That's the reason why I got fired, really, to tell you the truth, is because I got to a point to where I just really did not care about the job, and I was going through a depression at that point in time. Like the whole time that I had my recording studio was the time that I was really going through a really bad and a hard depression stage in my life. That year was the last year that I worked at that job. So I had been working at that job for 2 years prior. Towards the end of me having to pay the lease for the recording studio is when I got fired from that job. So 2012, I had no job. Man, so that job, man, I had no qualm against this person. This person is a great person, you know, but at the same time, we just didn't get along when it came to work. I didn't get along with this person, and so this person was my supervisor at the job. And my supervisor, you know, just like I said, great person outside of work. I'm sure I would have no problem creating a friendship with this person, you know. But at work, it was just kind of crazy, man. So to kind of validate myself, I am going to say some negative things. But at the same time, me losing the job was my fault. So I can't blame it on that person. I did do some things to get myself fired from that job, which I definitely learned a lesson from, and I made sure that in the new job that I have right now, made sure that I'm not doing those same things and whatnot. So my supervisor, man, there would be times that this person would pick out people. It's like the person wrote down, okay, I'm going to go ahead and pick out this person to pick on, and I'm just going to follow them around the warehouse the whole time and make sure that they're doing their job. Then they would pick on that person, and they would pick on that person, and then they would pick on this person, you know. It was like each 1 week, I'm just going to pick on this person for a week. Next week, I'm gonna pick on this person for this week. And so I kind of got tired of it coming back around to me again, you know, because, you know, it would rotate from person to person to person. And it got to the point to where it was my turn once again And at this point in time, I was really going through some difficult times emotionally, just like I was referring to earlier. And it was one of those days where I just did not care, man. Period. I just did not care about anything in life, you know what I'm saying? But I did, make sure that I went into work and whatnot. I tried to maintain myself, but at the same time, I was just so emotionally distraught that it's a lot of things I just didn't care about, you know what I'm saying? Which I kind of spoke about briefly in another video. But yeah, so I went to work, man. Was I late? No, I wasn't late. I wasn't late that day. But I went to work, or I could have been late. Maybe that's what we had the argument about. But I went to work, I got in, started working. Oh, that's what it was. I was on time. I was on time. Some people may consider this on time. Other people will argue that I wasn't on time. But let me just tell you the situation. I clocked in. I think I had to be to work at 7:30 or something like that. So I clocked in at directly at like 7:29, something like that. And I started walking into the warehouse. Clocking in was outside of the warehouse. I started walking into the warehouse, and as I was walking in, my supervisor asked me why wasn't I at my desk, or why wasn't I at the place where I was supposed to be working at. And so with me having the attitude of just not caring, I basically just exploded. I exploded, and people who know Ray, that's not in my character. You don't really see that happening too much, from me. Yeah, I basically just exploded. I let the person have it. I just gave him a piece of my mind. After I got done doing it, first thing that happened was I just kind of came to my senses and realized what I did, and I was kind of just like, why did I do that? You know what I'm saying? But then the second thing that happened was then that basically that person walked away and just didn't say anything to me. I felt like I won the battle, but I actually felt horrible afterwards. But then also to add to me feeling horrible, everybody else started looking and trying to see what's going on. Why is this person yelling? I think at the time I was about 280, probably almost 300 pounds. Why was this big, tall, black man yelling at the top of his lungs at his supervisor?
Boy, if you don't help me, nigga. Hey, bro, watch your jet. Watch your jet, bro. Watch your jet.
I do not associate with niggers.
Yeah, so my supervisor left, and that person did whatever they were supposed to do, and then I went and I started doing my job or whatnot, So what was going on in my mind was, why do I have to be at my desk exactly at 7:30? You know what I'm saying? There's no clause, or there was no anything in writing that said that, oh, when I come into work, I have to be at my desk at 7:30. You know what I'm saying? So, and not only that, but I guess it must have been my week for that person to monitor me and see what I'm doing, every little detail of what I'm doing to make sure I'm doing my work. It must have been my week that week, because other people did the exact same thing, and I've witnessed other people doing the exact same thing and not necessarily get talked to about coming in, walking in at 7:30 instead of being at their desk at 7:30. And mind you, the desk is only like 2 minutes away from the place where you clock in. So I clock in, 2 minutes later, I'm at my desk. Basically, that person caught me walking in at like 7:31 to my desk when our job starts at 7:30. So it's a very small thing in my book, in my eyes, but I do realize that, I've come to realize that to other people, that's a big deal. Being even 1 minute late, to me, is kind of stupid, but I do have to respect that other people feel that that's a big deal. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way that they feel about it. So they feel that being on time is late and being early is what's being on time, I disagree with that. I don't feel that way. Basically, at that point, I went to work. I started doing my job. Everything was fine. And then I would say, I don't know how long it was later, but maybe 2 weeks. It could have been 2 weeks, or it could have been, you know, 3 or 4 months later. One day I got pulled over by the police, and this was the time where I was at the height of me having to pay off all those traffic tickets that I had accumulated. I was at the height of it. You know, I had to pay like $15,000, $20,000 to clear my license and get my license back. So I was driving to work without a license. Not only that, I also didn't have my tags at that time as well. So just like I said, this is all stuff that happened to me in my life that I learned a lesson from, and it will never happen again. So one day I was driving to work and I was late, or I was going to be on time. Actually, I would have been on time. Well, let me back up a little bit. If I had an issue with being to work on time, I had been late a lot. I was at work practically every day, you know what I'm saying? It was rare for me to take vacation or take a sick day or anything like that. Very rare. At this particular time, that was my issue, was being on time to work, you know what I'm saying? Fast forwarding back to the time where I got the ticket, I was going to be on time, but funny thing is, the highway patrol was sitting on the side of the road. There was plenty of traffic, so every car was going slow, stop and go traffic, and I was almost to work, just right down the street pretty much. And then all of a sudden, a motorcycle cop that's just sitting on the road, and his specific purpose, which he told me after he gave me the ticket, his specific purpose was to sit there and get anybody who had bad tags. He told me that was my job. I wasn't assigned to do anything else. Don't even stop anybody who's speeding. If the person is speeding, I don't care. I'm not even stopping that person. The person that I'm stopping is the person who has bad tags. Come on now, man. You serious? That's what the highway patrol is up to? That's the way I felt at that time, and that's even still the way I feel about it. Like, but anyway, that's a whole nother thing to get into. The guy pulled me over because my tags were bad. Then he saw that I had a bad driving record and I didn't have a driver's license at the time, or my driver's license was suspended. And so then he decided he was going to go ahead and tow my car. So not only did I get like $1,000 ticket, but he towed my car, and it was going to cost a lot of money to get it out. I think before I was able to get the car out, I had to pay $15,000. Plus I had to pay the impound. Plus I had to pay that ticket that I just got. Crazy, man, crazy. And so so I went ahead and one of my friends, a close friend of mine at the time, went ahead and picked me up from where I was at while the car was getting towed, and then they went and brought me to work. I arrived at work late, probably a good 15-20 minutes late or whatnot. Went into work. I explained everything that was happening to my supervisor or whatnot. They acted okay, acted like everything is fine, it's normal. You're always late to work, okay, get to work, you know. So I went in, you know, I worked, everything was fine, nothing happened. Can't quite remember exactly the time frame, but I think maybe 2 weeks to a month later, I got fired. Basically, my supervisor was telling me the reason why was because that day that I got pulled over by the police and I came in late, that was my last straw, you know what I'm saying? So basically, me being pulled over by the police was not an excuse, you know what I'm saying? So it was an unexcused absence. They said that basically this, you know, I can't protect you basically, so we got to go ahead and let you go, you know what I'm saying? So I got fired from the job. That added on to the depression that I had already. And I was angry with the people and everything like that, angry with the people that, you know, that let me go from the job or whatnot, you know. But on the bright side, what I was looking at is that I still have my studio and I can still pay for the lease on the studio because of the fact that I was going to be able to get unemployment. I got unemployment. While I was on unemployment, I continued to look for a job and everything like that, but it was not looking too good. Not looking too good at that particular time. It was very difficult for me to find a job that was a permanent job. Everything that I found was a temp job, you know, nothing that was solid and that was a permanent job, you know. I was able to pay for the last bit of the lease for the studio, left the studio, and I was just working, or I was just getting my checks from unemployment. I was looking for work or whatnot. Could not find work. At the same time, I was working my businesses, a photography company, and also a film production company, and things didn't quite work out, so both of those were failed businesses. Even though I still am going to dive right back into getting into film and everything like that now that I have more time. I'm going to get right back into trying to grow those businesses and whatnot, but it was just the fact that everything that was happening in my life at that time just caused me to not be effective as a business owner. And then secondly, just like I was saying, the whole anxiety thing that was holding me back as well. That's pretty much the conclusion of the video. I learned a lot, man. I learned a whole lot. I made a lot of mistakes, you know, not only in my personal life, how to conduct myself in my personal life, but also how to conduct myself at work. You know what I'm saying? And make sure that I'm not late, make sure I'm on time, make sure that I'm doing my job to the best of my ability, make sure I'm trying to elevate myself, not just stick in one spot. So I'm a very creative person, and I never like to stay in one place for too long as far as when it comes to me working and whatnot. And so of course I've gotten a hold of myself, and I know what to do to make sure that I keep a job, and a great job, which I'm very grateful that I have right now. But at the same time, the end goal has always been to work for myself. So at some point in my life, I would like to get to the place to where I'm able to use my creativity to its full potential, rather than going to a 9-to-5. That's another way that I've been able to cope with having a 9-to-5, is understanding and realizing that I'm able to use my creativity, if the job allows me to use my creativity at work as well. And so with that being said, man, that's going to be the conclusion of this video. I know this video is long, just like all the other ones. I really appreciate you guys watching this video. Make sure that you like this video, click the like button on the YouTube page. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, stop eating all them hamburgers. And when you feel like giving up, just remember, you only have one life, so let's make the best of it.
Hey, bro, watch your jet. Watch your jet, bro. Watch your jet!